Hi, I'm Grant McComey, and welcome to another edition of Travel Oregon's Grant's Getaways. You know, one of the great pleasures of travel across Oregon is that there are so many stories to be told, like the story of devastating fire that roared across the northwest corner of the state back in the 1930s, 40s, and 50s. Collectively, they were called the Tillamook Burn. You can hear more about that story at a place you may have missed, the Tillamook Forest Center. As the seasons change, the signs are clear and close at hand. At long last, spring has arrived.
As soon as the warm weather hits, I mean, there's just a ton of things to do out on the forest.
The Tillamook State Forest, at a place you may have missed.
It's always putting on a show at any season. Right now, in April and May, this is the peak for our wildflowers, and it's just a spectacular show of color.
The Tillamook Forest Center, just off State Highway 6, will show you much about our region, and when you step inside, history roars to life. An 18-minute film called A Legacy of Fire.
You really can't understand the future until you understand the past. This forest is rooted in fire. That's our story here.
The story of devastating fires that claimed 500,000 acres of ancient trees, how men battled the flames to protect what they could, and how volunteers brought the forest back to life. But the film is only part of the story at the stunning $11 million education center. Photos, clothing, and even household items put you in touch with Tillamook life of the past 120 years.
We have programs and events and great hands-on activities inside that will help people learn more about the forest and then kind of serve as a gateway to the forest and more exploration.
And when you're ready, step up into the clouds.
72 steps from the base to the top.
You've counted them?
We've definitely counted.
A replica fire lookout tower, once a common sight, now all but vanished in western Oregon.
Not a lot of people get to see a fire tower. This is really the only one that's between Astoria and Florence that you can actually drive up to.
Rare, just like the women who worked in them after World War II. They were called the Cloud Girls, and they answered a call that few men dared.
Osborne Firefinder, and you have your radio, a set of binoculars, and with those three tools combined with maps, those are the tools for the job.
Once there were more than 20 towers across the Tillamook Forest, a time when life was simpler and public service mattered. I've learned my lesson inside the Tillamook Forest Center, just a wealth of information about the history of the forest. Now I'm out onto a network of trails, many of them with wonderful overlooks to the Wilson River. The Wilson River Trail is a work in progress. So far, they've completed more than 20 miles in two distinct sections.
It offers two options. You can either walk along the river to the west and have that kind of experience, or you can hit the trail on the east side, and that takes you into the forest a little bit more and kind of more of a quiet experience that way.
The Tillamook Forest Center is a perfect base camp for a day's adventure. Learn something new and then go out and explore it.
The Tillamook State Forest is a gem. This is what we want people to remember, and hopefully they'll come back and enjoy the forest and take it in again.
You can learn more about the Tillamook Forest Center, the Wilson River Trail, and many of the state forestry campgrounds along the way by going to the Travel Oregon website. Now let's take a look at next week's edition of Grant's Getaways. As springtime moves into high gear, the best low tides of the season bring a bounty of seafood close at hand.
Okay, here we go, Grant. There's all kinds of them here. Right here. See them?
We're heading for the coast with a pro who knows where razor clams live.
All along the Clatsop Beach, from the jetty all the way down to Seaside. And that's where 95% of the clams in Oregon are dug.
He shows us how it's done.
There's a clam.
And more.
It's a lot of enjoyment to come down here on a nice morning and dig clams and walk around and take the whole family down here.
Next week on Grant's Getaways, digging for razors. Is that a nice clam or what? Don't miss it. So until next week, get out here and make your own outdoor adventures come true and let Travel Oregon be your guide. For Travel Oregon, I'm Grant McComey.